You ever find yourself in the middle of the grocery store, passionately whispering to a can of beans about its life choices? Or maybe you've built a small mountain range out of papers on your desk and legitimately called it a filing system. It's easy to look at that stuff and think, welp, the all-brain hamster has finally fallen off its wheel. But what if those are actually signs of a high-performance mind? Today, we're diving into the truly smart behaviors that everyone thinks are dumb. Let's get right into it. Number 7, the solo debate club. We've all been there. You're alone, trying to solve a problem, and you start narrating your every move out loud. Okay, so if I put this shelf here. No, that's stupid. The cat will just knock it over. What if I use the drill? Suddenly, you realize you're having a full-blown conversation with yourself, and you do that quick, paranoid glance around to make sure no one heard you auditioning for the role of local weirdo. But here's the thing, talking to yourself isn't a sign you're losing it. It's a sign your brain is kicking into high gear. Psychologists call this private speech, and it's basically your brain's way of hitting the turbo button. When you say things out loud, you're engaging multiple sensory pathways. You're not just thinking the thought, you're speaking it and hearing it. This simple act helps to solidify memory, focus attention, and regulate your emotions. It's why you find your lost keys faster when you mutter, "Keys, keys, where are the stupid keys?" You're essentially commanding your brain to prioritize that one task over the 50 other tabs you have open, like, what's for dinner? And did I ever reply to that email from 2019? Talking yourself through a stressful situation, like a job interview, actually helps you control your anxiety and organize your thoughts. So you're not crazy. You're just using a high-level cognitive tool to navigate the chaos of existence. You're basically giving yourself a pep talk and a strategy session all at once. Number 6 is all about creative chaos. We've been fed the same line since kindergarten. A clean desk means a clear mind. Organization gurus and productivity influencers show off their sterile, minimalist workspaces with one single, artfully placed succulent. Meanwhile, you look at your own desk, and it resembles the aftermath of a small tornado in a library. There are piles of books, scribbled on napkins, 3 different coffee mugs in various stages of life, and a pen that definitely doesn't belong to you. And you feel a little bit of shame. Well, stop it. That mess might just be the physical manifestation of your genius. Multiple studies, including one from the University of Minnesota, have found a direct link between messy environments and creativity. Researchers discovered that while people in tidy rooms were more likely to do what was expected of them, like donating to charity and choosing healthier snacks, people in messy rooms came up with more creative and unconventional ideas. The theory is that a disorderly environment challenges our brains to break free from rigid, traditional thinking. When you're surrounded by chaos, your mind is more open to new connections and insights. It's no wonder that some of the greatest minds in history, like Albert Einstein and Mark Twain, were famous for their ridiculously cluttered desks. They weren't lazy, they were cultivating an ecosystem of innovation. So the next time someone scoffs at your organized chaos, just calmly inform them that you're not messy, you're just operating at a higher creative frequency. Coming in at number 5, we have the Genius Jitters. You know that person in the meeting who's constantly clicking their pen, bouncing their leg like they're secretly powering the entire building with kinetic energy. Tapping their fingers on the table in a rhythm only they can hear. The immediate assumption is that they're bored, nervous, or just have the attention span of a gnat in a hurricane. They look like the physical embodiment of, "I'm not paying attention." But the opposite is probably true. That constant motion isn't a distraction, it's a focusing tool. Fidgeting is your body's clever way of keeping your brain engaged, especially when the task at hand is mind-numbingly dull. When you're understimulated, your brain starts looking for something, anything else to do. Fidgeting provides just enough low-level physical stimulation to occupy the restless parts of your brain, which paradoxically frees up your cognitive resources to focus on the main event. It's like giving a toddler a toy so the adults can talk. The physical movement keeps your brain alert and prevents it from drifting off into oblivion. Studies have even shown that kids who are allowed to fidget in class often learn and retain information better. It's a form of self-regulation. That leg jiggle isn't a sign of anxiety. It's your nervous system manually adjusting the settings to optimal focus mode. It's your body's built-in, all-natural concentration aid. Number 4 is for anyone who's ever been told they have their head in the clouds, staring into the void. Picture this: you're sitting at your desk, eyes glazed over, looking at a wall. You're not looking at anything in particular. You've just checked out. To any outside observer, you are the dictionary definition of unproductive. A coworker snaps their fingers in front of your face and asks if you're okay. But you were more than okay, you were having a breakthrough. That blank stare wasn't empty-headedness. It was your brain running its most sophisticated software. This state of what looks like doing nothing is when your brain's default mode network, or DMN, gets to work. Think of the DMN as your brain's internal creative studio. When you stop focusing intensely on an external task, this network lights up and starts connecting memories, imagining future scenarios, and mashing together old ideas to form new ones. It's the neurological basis for your shower thoughts. You don't solve a complex problem by staring at it harder. You solve it by looking away and letting your DMN sift through the data in the background. That moment of zoning out is actually a crucial cognitive process called creative incubation. Your brain is quietly organizing information and looking for patterns without your conscious mind getting in the way and messing everything up. So the next time you catch yourself staring blankly into your coffee, don't snap out of it. You might be one good, long, vacant stare away from your next big idea. At number 3, we have strategic whining. Let's be honest, nobody wants to be stuck in a room with a chronic complainer, that person who finds a dark cloud in every silver lining and seems to be powered by pure, unadulterated pessimism. Constant complaining is draining, but what looks like whining is often the first, crucial step toward problem solving. There's a huge difference between aimless negativity and targeted, constructive complaining. And the latter is a sign of high emotional intelligence. Think about it: every single invention, every social improvement, every innovation in human history started with a complaint. Someone, somewhere said, "This is terrible. There has to be a better way." Voicing dissatisfaction is how we identify problems. People who never complain might seem easygoing, but they're often just passively accepting a subpar reality. Bottling up frustration leads to a feeling of helplessness, which is terrible for your mental health. A strategic complainer, on the other hand, is an active agent in their own life. They experience a negative situation, analyze why it's negative, verbalize the specific issue, and often seek a solution. Complaining with a goal, whether it's to a company about a faulty product or to a friend about a misunderstanding, is a sign that you believe improvement is possible. It's a fundamentally optimistic act. You're not just stewing in misery, you're beta testing reality and filing a bug report. And at number 2, we salute the most socially risky smart behavior, being the fact checker. You're in the middle of telling a great story, the audience is captivated, and then a friend chimes in with, actually, and proceeds to correct a tiny, insignificant detail. The momentum is killed. Everyone cringes. The corrector is instantly labeled a pedantic know-it-all who just loves to ruin a good time. While their delivery might need some work, that compulsive need for accuracy is rooted in a highly advanced cognitive function. This impulse is driven by something called epistemic vigilance, which is your brain's natural security system against false information. From an evolutionary perspective, accepting bad info could be a disaster. Our brains are therefore hardwired to scan incoming data for inconsistencies and errors. When the fact-checker hears something that contradicts their internal database, it triggers a mental alarm. Their brain isn't trying to make you look bad. It's trying to resolve a cognitive dissonance. This drive for accuracy is the same instinct that fuels scientific inquiry and critical thinking. It's a sign of a mind that is actively processing information rather than just passively accepting it. They're not trying to show off. Their brain is just really, really committed to maintaining a clean, error-free version of reality. So while it can be annoying in the moment, that person's brain is basically performing a free, high-speed quality control check on the universe. And finally, the number one smart behavior that everyone is absolutely convinced is dumb: the last-minute genius, otherwise known as procrastination. This is the arch-nemesis of every productivity guru, the source of endless guilt, and the official sponsor of the 3M energy drink. We're taught that procrastination is pure laziness, a character flaw that we must vanquish with color-coded planners and time-blocking apps. But what if that frantic, 11th-hour burst of activity isn't a failure of discipline, but a bizarrely effective creative strategy? Organizational psychologists have identified something called active procrastination. This isn't the lazy, avoidant kind where you just ignore a task until it goes away. This is when you deliberately put off a task, allowing your mind to incubate ideas in the background. When you rush to finish a project way ahead of schedule, you often settle on the first and most obvious solution. But when you procrastinate, you give your brain the time and space to wander, to make nonlinear connections, and to let your ideas marinate. That time spent doing nothing is when your default mode network is actually hard at work, exploring possibilities your conscious mind would have dismissed. Then comes the magic of the deadline. That imminent sense of panic isn't just stressful, it's a powerful focusing agent. It forces your brain to cut through all the noise and get to the core of the problem. You enter a state of hyperfocus, where decisions are made quickly and creativity flows freely because there's simply no time for self-doubt. You might feel like you're pulling a masterpiece out of thin air in a single night, but you're not. You're just harvesting all the creative work your brain has been doing subconsciously for the past 3 weeks. So your tendency to wait until the last minute isn't necessarily a sign you're lazy. It might just be your brain's own high-stakes, adrenaline-fueled creative process. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.